So we got this message that someone had a swarm of bees that they needed taken care of. And since we had bee suits, we decided, sure, we'll take it on. So here we are cutting the swarm branch off of the tree. And we had a couple boxes that our nukes came in. They're nuke boxes. That's what we had on hand. We didn't have an extra hive, so we thought we would try to catch the swarm in a nuke box. And you can see us trying to fit the branch in the nuke box. So the idea here is the bees will smell the beeswax on the foundation and they'll parade down into the nuke box. Put the branch there. We left it overnight. And the plan was to come back the next day and see if the swarm had moved down into one or both of the nuke boxes. And sure enough, it did. This is from the next day. The queen is obviously in that nuke box. There's hardly any in the other side. So all the bees know the queen is in that other nuke box, so that's where they all gathered. They're just busy hanging out. So we took the opportunity to go buy a new hive, and we're putting some empty frames in there, and then we're going to start moving the frames with the bees over. Thaddeus is taping up the entrance since we're going to have to transport it. We don't want them getting out in the vehicle. Okay, that's the frame with most of the bees, and then most of the other bees are left on the branch. And we're just going to stick that branch in the hive until we get it over to the location where we're going to keep it. Since we can't put the lid on, we're going to have to break off part of the branch. And notice there's just a couple thousand bees up in the air flying around. Now we're obviously not going to get all of those bees in the hive before we move it. Those bees will return back to their original hive as a show of fealty. Okay, so here Thaddeus has the hive in the back of his Forerunner. He's putting his toolbox on top of it just to weigh down the lid some more. So Thaddeus will drive the bees over to our other two hives, and we will use those cedar posts that you see there to make a bench out of the cinder blocks that we already have. So here we are unloading the cedar posts, putting the cinder blocks upright, and then putting the cedar posts on top. Now the apame hives that we have are actually designed to be set on posts like this. They have a little cutout on the bottom, so they fit real nice. And there we are adjusting to make sure that it's mostly level. And there's the new hive. Once we had the new hive on, we decided we would take a frame from one of our existing hives that had already been built out a little bit, so that the queen in the new hive could start filling it up with eggs. And then we're weighing it down with the cinder block because the tops don't latch down like the apame hives do. We later went back and put up a dog kennel around the hives, and we put up a bee crossing sign, and there we are. There's me, my brother Paul, and Thaddeus.